Hi, gorgeous ghouls. I know it's been a while, and yeah, I'm gonna try to fix that now. I've been sick, but I'm coming back at you finally with a video about my book of the month. Yes, there's 4 books, but I'm gonna discuss the book of the month, the one I picked out of this. So if you want to see more of my co-host here and listen to me discuss books, then stick around. Alrighty, y'all. I realize it's been a hot minute since I've had a video up, but I believe I got COVID. I have been sick I was sick through almost all of January. Right after my Get Ready With Me video, a few days later, my husband came home sick. Next thing you know, I was sick. So it's been crap. January was crap. But I still managed to read a little bit during that time. There was one full week where I didn't even read. So I want to start something new, and it's not like a book of the month thing, club kind of thing or anything like that. It's not that. It's just I have set a goal this year of how many books I want to read, because last year I started out hot. I was just like on fire, book, 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 book. And then as the year went on, I kind of slacked and I was depressed, and there was just all these things. So I'm trying to hold myself accountable by creating a journal here of books that I'm reading at the time, how many pages I read, how long I read, something, and then I have an actual part that's book of the month. So yeah, let me see if I can get to a page here. Yeah, like I set up for the whole week and put down the book and all that good stuff. So this month I have book of the month. So let me go over real quick the books that I did read. I hope this isn't, I'm going to try not to make this too long video because, I mean, come on, y'all get bored, I'm sure. And we are in the middle of snowpocalypse 2022 now in Texas. So, which it was, I don't know any of the other areas, but my area had very little snow. And yeah, it's been below freezing though for a few days now, and will continue tomorrow to be below freezing. So sweater weather. Yes, I get to wear my sweater. So yeah, I'm a dork. So anyway, let's start with the first book I read. I wanted to start earlier. I had this book last year. It was on my to be read list, and I kind of flaked on it. I don't know why. I've heard good things about it, but I was also worried that it was going to be too much of what I call an easy read. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean that it's kind of mindless and you enjoy it and you can read it like that. I mean, I read this book like in a day or two. Excuse me. And that's reading only at night when I go to bed. So yeah, this is The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendricks. Very good. Very good book. I believe I gave this a 4 out of 5. And I think what I might have taken from it, taken it down from a 5, was just the fact that it was just very simple. And I don't mean that negative. If anybody likes it, I like it. It's not that I don't like it. I really enjoyed it. And I will be reading more of Grady Hendricks. Very good writer. Sucks you in, bam, you're in it. You're in the story, you get it, it's great. So I do recommend it. I do recommend it. It is a quick read. If you, it got 300 and some pages here. I have all this written down in my thing. It's easier just to do this. 400 and, oh, that's with this, is this I'm trying to remember. Yeah. Okay. And it takes place from 1988 to 1997. So it has 404 pages. And like I said, a couple of nights reading, it was gone. It was done. It's really good. It holds your attention, blah, 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 all that good jazz. Now, this one I had heard a lot of good stuff about, unfortunately. I say that because I bought into it and said, okay, let's try this out. This is Penpal by, Dathan Arbach? I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. So, this one here is supposed to be a horror book. well, there is something that's pretty, I mean, it's horrifying in the context of what happened, but getting to that point is ridiculous. If you want to read about their childhood, things that really had nothing to do with each part, drawn out storylines in each segment, I guess, each chapter, things that you can kind of allude to what it is, what's going on partway through it, and you think, well, this has got to be it. So, and then the ending was just like, really? So it takes a long time just to get to any of the actual horror. There's little things that pique your interest when he's a child and you're trying to figure out what's going on with the story, you know, try to get to what the climax will be about. Yeah, well, it was a letdown. There was a lot of things unanswered. And another thing, the children in this book, they must be ingenious. They must be geniuses. We're talking about, what, 5, 6, 7-year-olds that are just doing some crazy stuff. Now, granted, kids are a lot smarter than some people give them credit for, but I just don't buy into a lot of it. So this I gave a 2 out of 5, which is unfortunate. I don't know. It's an easy read. Very easy read, though. That was gone. I read these 2 books in less than a week. So, and that's, like I said, reading when I go to bed at night. The next book I read, Cunning Folk by Adam Neville. Neville? I don't know. Anyway, if you like horror movies, oh, and I'm trying to do this with this light here still, so if it starts getting dark, I will have to fix the lighting. But right now I'm trying to get this done in natural lighting here with the overhead light too. I don't know what, I brought that up because it looked like it was getting kind of dark and shadowy over here. But this book, if you watch Netflix, I believe is what these were on, he has written books that they have made into films. One being The Ritual, which is a really good horror movie. So now I want to read the book, which I always hate that because I always prefer the book and I want to read the book first. So I did not know about him. So, and then No One Gets Out Alive, which is another really good horror movie that has a interesting twist in the end of it. So I enjoyed both those, and I don't know if this is going to be made into a, what do you call it? Movie? Yep, your girl's here. All of her brains. Now, this writer is very good. 5 out of 5 on this book. Because the writing is good, the story's good, it's kind of a horror, it has magic in it, which I want to say something that lends to fantasy a bit. So if you're into any of that sort of stuff, then I recommend it. And I did highlight a spot here, but I'm not going to go over that yet. So let's go to the last book I read during the month. This is the Sundown Motel. I will tell you this is number 2 in this month's list. Number 2 here. So you obviously know which one got top book, but I just want to discuss all these. And maybe I should have let it up the other way instead of the order I read them in, but in the order that I liked them in. We'll change that next month. So this one here takes place in 2 different time periods, 1982 and 2017. It's a horror movie. It has, let's just say, supernatural elements in it. There you go. Not let's just say, it does. And it is very well written. It sucks you in and you want to know what's going on. There's no confusion about time, slips on either side. Each chapter is who's there. It's Viv or Carly. There you go. One is the aunt and one is the niece, and it's a story about family maybe needing to tie up some loose ends, get some closure. And now I took off a star for the ending. I was not a fan of, I like sometimes the ending to be a bit, is ubiquitous the word? I don't know if I'm using that properly or not. To be kind of left to my imagination. I want it closed up to an extent, but not where I can't get my own ideas and thoughts involved in it. And this one here closes, I mean, if you like a Lifetime ending where everything's wrapped up nice and neat, this is your book. However, the rest of the book is really good. And the ending is good if you like that sort of thing. I personally do not. So, it just doesn't work for me. But, yes, this is by Simone St. James. And evidently she's written some other things. But, yes, this is a very good, easy read, quick read. And my only thing I didn't like was how the ending... There's also some things about, like, romance type things, but there's not really a lot of that type of stuff. It's just things about when she's young, talking about how hot he looks or something like that. And I'm like, boring. But, you know... It is what it is. It didn't detract from the book enough for me to go, okay, that's it. It's just little short things. But it is an interesting story, although I wish the ending would have been a little bit different, a little bit more exciting. That's it. It was kind of an anticlimactic ending to me. So, one part was pretty good, though. Now, book of the month, 10 minutes into the video. Yep. Now, as I said earlier, this is so well written. This person knows how to sling words on a page, because it took a little bit longer to read this. Not like weeks or anything like that. I think it took about 4 days maybe. And yeah, the writing is so divine. If you enjoy somebody who knows how to describe things without making them completely drawn out and boring, I mean, it's amazing. I had, like I said earlier in this video, a little bit ago, that I had marked a page here. And let me make sure where it is here, because I don't want to say the wrong part here. Okay. This is a part where he is, I'm not going to say who he is, because I don't want to give away anything. I don't want to have any spoilers in this for you. But I just want to show you the type of writing here. He's in the woods. And these woods are kind of scary. So, here it is. A shaking of branches above him. Behind him, back near the fox, Verdue protesting at the passage of a thrusting body, a commotion accompanied by the determined raking of paws or hands that seize and grip. He stops, turns, his fire of rage transforming into a hoarfrost of terror, growing from the pores of his scalp and icing the steps of his spine. So deep does this rupture of fear tear that his testicles clench and shrink. Peering up, he loses his footing, snatches a hand onto a nettle, wet skin on live wires. And that's the writing through this whole thing. It's just so well done. You feel what he feels. You're just like so caught up in this fear that he has. So, yes, it's very good. Now, the book itself is about a family who's kind of... They're tight on money. They don't have a lot of money, and they have a child, and the father wants this child to have a certain kind of upbringing, meaning to get out of the cramped city and get out to nature and live in the countryside a little bit and be able to do things that he thought or said that he did when he was young. So they move to this house. They get a really good deal because of something that happened in the very beginning of the book. It tells you. And as the story continues, you start to realize that there's a lot going on. You never know who your neighbors are. These are some of the questions I wrote in about the book of the month. I tried not to give anything because I didn't want to accidentally tell y'all something. So, I had put that, like, how well do you actually know your neighbors? They moved in here and they moved from a totally different area to a very rural, I have trouble with that word, country area. And the father thinks that because when he grew up, all the neighbors where he lived helped each other. You know, you kind of watched out for each other's kids because it was a different time. We all know that. So he thinks he needs to be friends with the neighbors, and well, that doesn't go well, let's just say. There's the part in the book where you wonder, like, are you just dealt these things, these negative things that might happen to you, or did you create the situation yourself? Or is this just the hand you were dealt, or are there other forces at work? Are you responsible for your own, well, I guess you are responsible for your own whatever, but things that are happening around you and your reaction to them. How you react to those. I know this is sounding really cryptic, but I don't want to give anything away. But, yeah. Then, the ending on this one was very good. Now, I'm not going to tell you, but it kind of comes around. Like, the quote, was it Lovecraft that said, be careful looking into the abyss because the abyss might look back into you or something? That's kind of how this story is. That's exactly how this story is. And then I put that yes, I enjoyed this book a lot. It left me thinking. I still think about the book. And that's a good, I mean, for a book, I read this a few weeks back, and I'm still like, whoa, that was really good. So, I think anybody who enjoys it's not necessarily all fantasy. It's kind of a witchcraft, supernatural fantasy kind of thing going on. I mean, as you can see, Cunning Folk, it kind of lends to what's going on there. But you also learn what Cunning Folk means for this. This is, where does it take place? Somewhere in England, I believe. Yes. So, I'll read the back to you, and then I'm going to close this up, because this will tell you, I gave you my opinions. I don't know how well they were. I don't know how, I've never done this before. It says, no home is heaven without hell next door. Should tell you right there. Money's tight, and their new home is a fixer-upper, deep in rural southwest England, with an ancient wood at the front of the garden. Tom and his family are miles from anywhere and anyone familiar. His wife Fiona was never convinced that buying the money pit at auction was a good idea, not least because the previous owner committed suicide. There's what happened in the beginning. They say it on the back. I didn't remember. Though no one can explain why. You'll figure it out as it's going, though. Within days of crossing the threshold, when hostilities break out with the elderly couple next door, Tom's dreams of future contentment are threatened by an escalating tit-for-tat campaign of petty damage and disruption. There was one part where he totally loses it with the chainsaw, and I'm like, yeah, I can feel that. That seems like something that could happen. And you just finally lose it. Increasingly isolated and tormented, Tom risks losing his home, everyone dear to him, and his mind, because surely only the mad would suspect that the oddballs across the hedgerow command unearthly powers, a malicious magic even older than the eerie wood and the strange barrow therein. A hallowed realm from where he suspects his neighbors draw a hideous power. A compelling folk horror story of deadly rivalry and the oldest magic from the 4-times winner of the August Derleth Award for Best Horror Novel. Yes. So, I highly recommend this book. So, if you like to read, I recommend all the books except for Penpal. Penpal I do not recommend. But the others, the Grady Hendricks book, the Simone St. James book, excellent reads, highly recommend them. They both received 4 out of 5 stars, and this received 5 out of 5. So, let me know in the comments if you like this sort of video. I'm back to saying a lot, evidently. I'm going to have to work on that again. So, let me know if you like this sort of video. I want to try to do one a month, of course. I'm going to read each month, and then the following month will be those books that I read and discuss them. And if you don't want to hear about all of them and only the one book, or however you want it, and if you have any recommendations for really good books, leave them down below in the comments, or wherever the comment section is now for y'all to type in. and do all the things, the like, the subscribe, the share, the, what was the other one? Leave a comment, do all the things. And is there anything else I should say before I wrap this up completely? Oh, you see my co-host has been, did you hear her see meow real low? My little tripod here. Yes. Yes. Yes, she's been very quiet. I think she agreed with everything I said. Don't nod your head. That's not nice. Anyway, just remember, you're beautiful just the way you are, and don't let anyone take away your shine. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.